Welcome to the inner chosen. Quick question. Have you ever felt it? That sudden shift, like someone important noticed you and the whole energy in the room changed. Because today, you're going to learn exactly why that happens, what powerful people pick up on instantly, what it means when their attention locks onto you, and how to handle it without losing your peace. So settle in. By the end of this video, you'll understand the hidden signals you've been giving off, the psychology behind obsession, and the moves that keep you in control, no matter who's watching. It started so fast that you almost missed it. 1 second, everything felt normal. And the next, the atmosphere changed, like the room subtly leaned toward you. You didn't make a dramatic entrance or say anything unforgettable, but somehow you became the point of gravity. That's how these moments begin, quietly, sharply, and with a strange certainty that something has shifted. What makes it intense is that the attention doesn't feel casual. It feels deliberate, focused, and a little too precise, like you're being observed for meaning, not entertainment. You might notice they track your reactions, not your words, and they seem more interested in your silence than anyone else's noise. The obsession doesn't announce itself. It reveals itself through patterns. You may even catch the double-take energy, when someone looks away and then looks back as if their mind is trying to confirm what their instincts already decided. They start remembering small details about you that you never thought mattered. They bring up things you mentioned once, like it was important, like it was evidence. That's not coincidence, that's fixation forming. And the wild part is you didn't chase it. You didn't perform for it. You didn't beg the spotlight to land on you. You simply showed up as yourself, with a calmness that didn't ask for approval. That kind of grounded presence can be more disruptive than any loud confidence. So, if you've felt that moment, when someone powerful notices you and the air tightens, don't minimize it. Pay attention, because moments like that are rarely random. They're the start of a story where your energy becomes the question they can't stop trying to answer. Powerful people don't obsess over what's easy to access. They obsess over what interrupts their usual control. When you've spent your life being the person others adapt to, meeting someone who doesn't automatically bend can feel like encountering a locked door. Not because you're arrogant, but because you're anchored, and that creates friction they're not used to. They're surrounded by people who rush to impress, people who offer instant agreement and easy admiration. But yes is cheap to someone who hears it all day. What's rare is someone who can stay steady in their presence, someone who doesn't treat their status like a spotlight to worship. That steadiness becomes unforgettable. Obsession, for them, is often a response to a challenge they didn't choose. It's the feeling of not being able to predict you within 5 minutes, not being able to buy your attention with influence. That uncertainty pulls their focus back to you again and again, because their mind is wired to solve what resists them. And once their attention locks, they start creating reasons to be near you, subtle invitations, strategic conversations, accidental proximity. They ask questions that sound casual, but are designed to measure you. They watch how you respond to pressure, praise, silence, and competition, because they're trying to map you like a territory. But here's the truth. This fixation isn't automatically flattering or safe. It's simply revealing. It shows you have something that stands out in a world where most people trade authenticity for access. And when someone powerful becomes obsessed, the most important thing you can do is stay clear, stay grounded, and remember, your value isn't proven by their attention, it's protected by your boundaries. The first thing they truly noticed wasn't your looks, your talent, or even your confidence. It was the absence of need in your energy. You weren't reaching for validation, scanning faces for approval, or adjusting your personality to fit the room. You moved like someone who already belonged to themselves, and that quiet ownership is louder than any performance. You didn't treat their presence like a prize to win. You didn't rush to impress, overshare, or prove your worth. Even if you were polite, even if you were warm, there was a clear signal underneath it. Your life wasn't waiting for them to begin. That's the kind of independence that makes powerful people pause, because it disrupts the usual dynamic. Most people orbit power the moment they sense it. They laugh a little harder, agree a little faster. soften their boundaries to stay close to influence. But you didn't. You stayed steady. And to someone used to being catered to, steady can feel like resistance, even when it's simply self-respect. This is where obsession starts, when they realize they can't pull you with the usual tools. Status doesn't hypnotize you. Access doesn't bribe you. Attention doesn't buy you. You're not rude, you're not distant, you're just not available in the way they expect people to be. That makes you stand out immediately. And the moment they sense they can't own your attention on command, their focus sharpens. They start watching for openings, testing the edges of your boundaries, measuring how much influence they actually have. Not because you attack them, because you unintentionally showed them something rare, a person who can stand near power without being swallowed by it. The reason this triggers obsession is simple. Scarcity creates value, and your attention isn't cheap. When someone powerful meets someone they can't instantly win over, their brain labels it as unfinished business. They replay interactions, analyze tone, and search for the exact lever that works on you. Because they're used to levers working. Powerful people live in a world where most outcomes can be shaped. They make calls, doors open, they suggest something, people comply. So when they encounter a person who doesn't automatically respond to their gravity, it creates a strange tension, like pushing on a wall that doesn't move. That tension becomes focus, and focus becomes fixation. It's not always romantic at first. Sometimes it looks like curiosity, like admiration, like I want to know you. But underneath it is a deeper psychological pull. They want to prove their influence still applies here. Your calm, I'm fine, either way energy becomes a mirror that reflects their limits, and many powerful people are not used to seeing limits. They also confuse emotional stability for mystery. Because if you're not overreacting, oversharing, or trying to manage their perception of you, they can't read you quickly. And when they can't read you, they can't predict you. When they can't predict you, they can't control the outcome. That uncertainty is addictive to someone who's used to certainty. So their behavior shifts. They become more attentive, more strategic, more present than they are with others. They remember details, create small tests, and look for patterns in how you respond. Some will try to impress you, others will try to intimidate you. Either way, the goal is the same, to see what moves you. And if you understand this, you gain power without ever chasing it. You realize their obsession isn't proof that you're lucky. It's proof that your energy carries boundaries and depth. The key is to stay grounded, because the moment you start performing for their attention, the spell breaks, your scarcity disappears, and the dynamic flips back into something they can control. The second thing they notice is that you're not fully explained. You don't spill your whole story the moment someone shows interest, and you don't try to be instantly understood. You share enough to be real, but not so much that people can package you into something simple. That balance makes you stand out in a world where most people overshare to feel safe. There's a difference between being secretive and being selective, and you fall into the second category. You have edges. You have private rooms in your mind that you don't open for everyone, and you don't apologize for that. You can be present and still keep your center protected, and that's rare enough to become unforgettable. Powerful people are used to reading others quickly, figuring out what they want, what they fear, what they'll tolerate. But with you, the usual shortcuts don't work. Your reactions aren't loud enough to give you away, and your silence doesn't feel empty. It feels intentional, like you're observing too. That mutual observation flips the dynamic. So they lean in. They pay attention to your timing, your pauses, the way you respond to praise, the way you respond to pressure. They start building theories about you, then testing those theories with small moves, an invitation, a compliment, a sudden change in tone, just to see what shifts. The more you remain steady, the more their curiosity turns into fixation. And the reason it hits so hard is because mystery creates momentum. When someone can't finish the story of you in their head, they keep coming back to try. Not because you're playing games, but because you're living with depth, and depth can't be scanned in one conversation. When these two details combine, it creates a psychological trap for anyone who's used to control. If you don't need them, and they can't fully decode you, their mind flags you as both valuable and unresolved. That's when attention stops being casual and becomes persistent. You become the question they keep reopening, even when they try to move on. It's like you've become a mirror they can't manipulate. They can't buy your calm with status, and they can't rush your trust with charm. So instead of feeling powerful, they feel tested, and powerful people often mistake that feeling for destiny. They tell themselves it must mean something because it doesn't feel easy. This is the two detail effect, scarcity plus uncertainty. Your attention isn't freely available and your inner world isn't instantly accessible, so your presence gains weight. They start replaying moments, analyzing what you meant, wondering what you noticed. You're not chasing them, yet you're occupying mental space they can't clear. And this is where obsession often becomes visible. They look for excuses to cross paths, they elevate small interactions into big meaning, and they become unusually alert to who else has access to you. They might offer opportunities, introduce you to circles, or create invitations that seem generous, but also conveniently keep you closer. The smartest move is to recognize the pattern without feeding it. Stay consistent, stay respectful, and keep your boundaries clear. Because the moment you start over-explaining yourself to be understood or shrinking yourself to be accepted, you hand them what their mind wanted all along, predictability. And predictability is the opposite of what made you magnetic in the first place. You'll notice it first in the way they keep reappearing. It's not always dramatic, but it's consistent. Same spaces, same timing, the same small coincidences that happen a little too often. They suddenly have reasons to be where you are, to enter conversations you're in, to stay a few seconds longer than necessary. It feels casual on the surface, but the pattern is the message. Then there's the detail obsession. They remember things you barely recall saying. Your favorite drink, a random comment, a specific phrase you used once. They bring it up later like it mattered, like they filed it away. Powerful people don't usually store small details unless something about you is living in their mind between encounters. Another sign is the subtle testing. They'll push a boundary lightly and watch your reaction. Maybe a teasing remark, a bold question, a sudden change in warmth, or a delayed reply on purpose. They're trying to measure your stability and your self-respect, because those are the qualities they can't easily override. The more you stay calm and clear, the more interested they become. You may also feel a shift around other people. They become unusually aware of who speaks to you, who makes you laugh, who gets your attention. It might show up as protective behavior, competitive energy, or a sudden seriousness when someone else enters the dynamic. Even if they never say it out loud, they start acting like access to you is something to secure. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to Basireddin. Let me ask you something that might stop you in your tracks. If Allah were to take your soul tonight, what would you wish you had fixed first? Your prayers, your heart, or your habits? In today's video, you're not just going to watch something, you're going to learn things that can reshape the way you see your life, your struggles, and your purpose. We'll talk with an Islamic lens, clear, practical, and heart-awakening, so you can leave with guidance you can actually apply. So, take a deep breath, make a sincere intention, and stay with me, because what you're about to hear may be exactly what your heart has been needing. Welcome to Basireddin. Sincerity is when you do the right thing, even if nobody will ever know you did it, because you are doing it for Allah alone. It is the quiet decision in your chest that says, Ya Rab, you are enough as my witness. In a world that teaches us to chase attention, sincerity returns your heart to its true purpose, to seek the pleasure of the one who sees everything, the one who knows what is hidden and what is shown. When sincerity enters your worship, even small deeds become heavy with meaning. A short dua made with a true heart can outweigh long speeches said for approval. 2 humble rakas in the darkness can be more beloved than public acts that are mixed with showing off. The believer learns to purify intention again and again, because the heart changes, and only Allah knows what it is truly aiming for. Sincerity also protects you from disappointment, because you stop measuring your worth by people's reactions. If people praise you, you thank Allah and continue. If they ignore you, you continue anyway, because your goal was never their applause. This is freedom. This is dignity. This is the calm of someone who knows that the real record is written in the sight of Allah, not in the eyes of creation. And sincerity does not mean perfection. It means truth. You may be struggling. You may be falling. You may be trying again. But if your turning is real, Allah knows. Sometimes the most sincere person is the one who is fighting their own nafs in silence, begging Allah for strength and refusing to give up, even when no one understands their inner war. So, keep returning to your intention. Before you speak, before you post, before you act, whisper to your heart, for Allah. Ask Allah for ikhlas, because it is a gift, and the one who asks sincerely is never left empty. When sincerity becomes your compass, your life becomes lighter, your worship becomes sweeter, and your path becomes clearer, even in difficult times. Patience in Islam is not passive suffering. It is a worship in motion. It is the choice to remain obedient when life is heavy, to remain gentle when you are provoked, and to remain hopeful when your dua feels unanswered. Sabr is not just waiting. It is holding the rope of Allah tightly while your heart trembles, trusting that your Lord is guiding you through what you do not yet understand. There are different moments that demand patience. Patience in obeying Allah, patience in leaving sin, and patience with what Allah decrees. Each one is a battlefield, and each one is honored by Allah. You wake up for prayer when your body begs for sleep. This is sabr. You turn away from haram when your desires pull you. This is sabr. You accept a test without turning bitter toward Allah. This is sabr. Patience does not erase pain, but it gives pain meaning. The believer may cry, may feel weak, may feel exhausted, but still says, Ya Allah, I trust you. And that trust is not wasted. Every moment you restrain yourself from wrongdoing, every time you keep your tongue from harmful words, every time you continue making dua despite the delay, Allah records it with a reward beyond measure. Sometimes patience looks like staying consistent in small good deeds when motivation disappears. Sometimes it looks like forgiving when revenge feels easier. Sometimes it looks like continuing to build your relationship with Allah while your life is messy and unfinished. Sabr is strength, and Allah loves the servant who keeps returning, who keeps standing back up, who refuses to surrender to despair. So when you feel overwhelmed, remember, your patience is not invisible. The one who tested you is the one who will compensate you. Speak to Allah in your hardest moments, ask for firmness, and keep moving with faith. With every breath of sabr, you are being raised, quietly, steadily, until the day you meet Allah and realize that nothing you endured for His sake was ever lost.